today. Okay, let me start again. Good morning. Welcome to Hucolo Saturday Morning with Sabrina. Today is October 15th, 2016. And we have in our room today Angie, Brian, Christine, Christopher, Holly, Joanna, Liney, Shaheen, and myself, Valerie. And let me introduce to you Sabrina.
Hello, everybody. Long time. Missed you all. I'm sorry about the very, very delayed webinar. It has some technical difficulties, but we're here now. So today, because I've been talking to a lot of people, and a lot of you have been going through changes, through difficulties, through a lot of different experiences that have thrown many off kilter. And I felt it was necessary for this to be addressed. Because the challenges that are occurring are not just in our personal lives, but they're also occurring in the world. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that and we look at it and then we move on. So the idea here is not to dwell on the pain, but to acknowledge and to transcend it. And unless we are able to do that, we won't be able to be strong and be there for each other. So as I always do my webinars, I normally prefer for everyone to give their input. I think it's important since we all have much to share and we all have learned from our experiences. So I will read a little bit of what I wrote last night. And, eventually I will channel. But for now, I want the discussion to go on, and I want us to help each other because we can channel all we want, but unless we learn to apply the things that we are learning, then they become temporary words. So I kind of got carried away writing. So I might have to stop at some point. And I say hello to everybody. So those viewers. So I wrote, many times in our lives, our spirits go into the night, and we wonder if we will be able to overcome the night. It feeds a sense of despair, even though we know we are not the body, we are not the emotions, we are not the experiences, we are consciousness. But the night comes and we struggle to overcome it. The mind fills with more questions than answers, and we question everything. We have become enthralled in a swirl of emotions and situations that rob us of perspective and the ability to see the light in us and in the situation. We are filled with fear, anguish, negativity, despair, sorrow, self-pity, and many other things that do not allow us to stay connected to us. And even those that are usually connected to themselves are being shaken to their core. Why, we ask? Why are our lives upside down and the world seems chaotic and confused? This is the dawn of the spirit. It is necessary in order to see a different world um, that is ruled with compassion and love and understanding, the creation of a different world. Humanity needs to look within, really look and see what it is they are afraid to look at. There are so many mirrors now that everything it's feeling feeling over that everyone is feeling overwhelmed, and for some this has transferred into a stifling feeling, not being able to move or to know what to do next. If you find stuck or not wanting to look anymore, this is a webinar for you. So I would say to all, please, let's help each other transcend all of this. Let's help each other and let's be compassionate with each other. It's important that we learn to give, because this is not just about us going in, this is also about us helping each other and being compassionate without taking other people's pain onto yourself, but helping them along the way. So we will share our wisdom for those who wish, and a little bit of pain, not too much of it for those who wish to share, because we cannot get there without your experiences that are teachers of wisdom, not some book or some memorized words. Wisdom comes from the practice of life, from failing, getting up and seeing what the lesson was, and changing. And if you don't, it will keep happening because the lesson has not been learned. When positive thinking is followed by a change in behavior, when positive thinking is not followed by a change in behavior, then they simply become words in the mind. Your body, your actions, your attitude must all be in agreement with what the words are saying. So many times people say, well, this is not working and this is not changing, and it just seems to be more of the same.
Sabrina, you're freezing.
I am. Okay, how about now? So the change has to show up, and in your physical body, your mental, your spiritual, your behavior, everything has to show the change of those words that you are expressing or saying to yourself. When one doesn't follow the other, then all of your bodies are not in agreement on what to do and what to follow. So it's important that when we start saying positive words to ourselves, that we actually do an action that reflects those words and not just speak words. And it might not be as changing as the words, but the actions are heading in that direction, and that's enough. So that being said, I mean, I have a lot more, but I would like to know if anyone has any questions so far or any comments that they would like to make.
Well, I can say that what you're talking about is what kind of I've been going through in the last year. And I can honestly say that you do come out of the night. And it is a not very pleasant journey, but it is very worth it. So just to become and to know yourself, or as yourself, not as someone else that society, parents, or whoever wants you to be. To know how you truly feel inside seems so easy, but it's actually a pretty hard thing to come into contact with. So I think Sabrina has some really wonderful advice that I know has helped me, and I hope that it can help you too if you're going through some rough times. And I think we all are kind of right now with the energies coming through. It just it's making all of our worlds a little bit off kilter. I think I'm right on that. Does anyone else having any kind of experiences like that, that you're just experience a little bit not like it used to be? No one has anything to say today?
I guess they don't, and that's fine. So, by the way, there is room for one more person to come in. Michelle, you can come back, and thanks for giving me the spot. Oh, go ahead, speak up.
Yeah, can I speak up?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I having a lot of I did have a lot of difficulties, but I just look at everything positive way because I realize no point to look at negative way. If you look at negative way, then you get negative. But if you look at positive way, you end up getting positive way, and it's working for me in the way. But it wasn't what I was expecting it, but it happened. So that, as they say, always chin up and look forward to everything. Thank you.
Yes, and that's, that's part of what I'm talking about. So yes, being positive is important, but just saying words to yourself, it's not enough. Um, so if you find yourself in a very difficult situation at the moment, um, reach out to others, speak to others about it. And I know, for many people, it's difficult sometimes to share or to open up. Um, and um, and and to be honest with yourself that you don't feel good, because see, what happens is we go through all these experiences before, which forces the awakening. So dawn comes before the awakening and while the awakening, because there are still things within you that are still identifying with the old profile, if you wish, with the old you, with how you used to handle yourself. So when you're still acting from that point, then you still keep having experiences that are going to try and teach you that there are still things within you that need to be worked out, that need to be looked at. So that's why meditation, introspection is very, very important for everybody. Because when you meditate and you observe yourself, your emotions, and what you're going through, and what is happening within you, without identifying with the emotional body. Because when you do that, you get lost in the emotion, whatever happens to be. You know, you fill in the blank. Then you get stuck in there and you twirl in it. And
can I say you just start reliving it?
you start reliving it, and it loves to create more of it. You know, so anything, you know, if you're going through a self-pity thing, then it's like, oh, I broke a glass. Oh, of course it had to happen to me. Because you start adding more of the same attitude to it so that it feeds that same energy. So that's why looking at things in a different perspective, in a more positive way, it's what brings about the change. But also not identifying with it anymore, but observing it. Because when you learn to observe it, that's when it becomes neutral. That's when the negative and the positive becomes the same. Because now you're learning to observe it, and you're walking through it, but you're not it. And you learn to see that you are consciousness, yes, without judgment. You learn to see that you are consciousness, and you allow it to be, and you take action, but from a different perspective, from a different point of view, than now the emotional self, or the physical self. Because also many people are going through illnesses, including myself. But that one I have learned to, I just separate myself when I know I'm getting too deep into it, and just, okay, I'm becoming whatever happens to be, you know, the pain, or whatever happens at that moment with my physical body, and to identify with it. And, you know, many times I just retrieve into myself because I know that's what I need to do in order to surpass that. And many people deal with things differently. And
I do think, though, that pain, like you're talking about, is something that we all can learn from what you just said. I have taken all of 13 years to get there with accepting what you cannot change in pain. Pain can't be something that's outside of yourself. And a lot of us think of it as that, as something we have to fight outside of ourselves. But it just isn't. It has to be accepted as part of you. It is part of you that's telling you something. And when you do something that causes pain, or if you're in pain from dis-ease, then yes, the meditation and introspection is exactly where you need to go. For me, it's the ocean that I visualize, so that every time the wave comes in, it's like my pain's coming in. And every time the wave goes out, then I can breathe out and let the pain go out with the ocean and be dissipated in the ocean. So it is really, really helpful to have that point of view when it comes to pain. And I'm sorry for interrupting you, Sabrina. I just felt that was really important for others who might be experiencing chronic pain issues.
Yes. And you learn to separate. When you learn to separate yourself from what is happening, a shift happens within you that helps you heal, but it also allows you to let it go. Because then what happens is, when you get totally focused on the pain, then your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body are all aligning to this pain. And you're not going to think about anything else but it. That's why when we distract ourselves, we feel better. However, whatever your distraction happens to be.
And our thoughts help that too. You know, like when you are having some extreme type of pain, whether it be mental or physical, and thinking yourself well is really, really possible. You know, try to think better thoughts than what you feel coming in. If you feel a lot of negative coming in, change that voice that's talking to you and change it around. Tell it to say good things, you know, make you feel better. It really does work because your
Right,
body is listening.
right. And just the allowing of it, because you know, if you're in pain, you're in pain. But the allowing of it to happen, but the separating and becoming aware, okay, I am not this physical body. When you separate yourself, when you become aware that you are consciousness, then this allows you to transcend it a lot faster, because the over identification with pain and suffering, or the emotional self, just creates a vicious circle, as opposed to when you observe, and like you were saying, the water. If you're the person, if your consciousness is the person standing on the edge of the beach, and you feel the pain ebb, you know, go in and out, in and out, and you just observe it, you will see a much faster recuperation from it, than when you become engaged.
Exactly. It's the
Totally
letting
engaged
go.
in it. Right, because you're letting go of it.
Mhm. Exactly. And eventually there won't be so much to let go of. And
And
it's just like that.
the fighting with it. You know, the more you fight, the harder it is. But
Yeah, because the more involved you get, the more encrusted you are into the whole thing, you know?
yes,
So you break free of that in a way in your consciousness. You break free of that hold that it has on you, and you begin to let go. And that doesn't, like she was saying, it doesn't matter if it's emotional pain or if it's physical pain. I've had both, and I've used it for both. And whichever way you find, that's just my way with the water. But I mean, if you find it's the earth, that's fine. If you find it's, you know, just let it go wherever you feel is a good place for it to go. It doesn't have to be specific. But yeah, let it go and be transmuted is what I say in my mind. You know, just kind of let it go, be transmuted into love. And that's kind of what I tell myself. And I'm amazed at how well it works.
and at this point, does anyone have any comments?
Michelle does.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle? Okay, I'll read what she put on the side. Without judgment, separating identity from pain is also self-healing. And I agree with that. Because if you wrap yourself up in that and what's causing you the pain, you're bringing yourself down too. You're going right down the rabbit hole with the pain.
You're dipping yourself in the soup.
Yep. And Michelle, thank you, because I know that you have also suffered a lot in your life and in past lives and still dealing with that today. And I know that you are just starting to grasp how you can deal with this in a positive way. And so your comments are most welcome.
Anybody else would like to say anything? Okay. So the question is, because now we were talking on the personal level, and and transmuting and changing um, what is happening in your life. So, many people are so challenged these days. And I would say this, that if you're finding yourself that you're not changing whatever it is that's causing the pain, then you're not allowing or being brave enough to look in and see what it is that you need to change. Because change is not easy. It's having the fear and still doing it. It's what's going to allow you to transmute it.
The first part is just recognizing that maybe you're not happy with who you are right now, or recognizing that maybe some of the baggage that you brought along from your childhood is for some reason being stirred up now while you're raising your own kids. I know for me, as my children reached the same age I was while certain things were happening, it did stir different emotions in me. I did see, like, hey, I was this age when this was happening, things like that. So, in raising my kids, I also seen myself. And so learning to deal with your own feelings at the same time you're raising a child is also very, very hard. And I think that separation becomes really important so that you don't make the same mistakes that were made on you. I know there's a lot of different things that get passed down. Like, somebody was abused, so then they abused their child. That is what happened to me. I didn't abuse my child, but the person who abused me was also abused. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we deal with that so that that doesn't continue to happen. I know just recently here in Montana, and I mean, we don't have a lot of people here, but it's crazy the amount of young people who are taken advantage of by family members. And apparently the courts don't see that as such a huge crime. They don't want to give very large sentences for child abuse. And it saddens me so deeply that, I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you how much I think this needs to change. And I think it doesn't need to change on a law issue. I think it needs to change in how we treat one another as children. That's going to make a world of difference in how they treat others when they get older, how they treat their own children.
Right, because and that's part of the issue, because we need to have an attitude of, and I'm talking in general here, an attitude of openness and willingness to confront the situation in the best possible way. And it will, so that it will teach you that no matter what others do, you have the strength and the conviction to take the high road. And in that case, the high road would be not to do what others did to you.
And also to somehow find
to,
forgiveness. I know this sounds strange, but also finding forgiveness, not repeating and finding forgiveness.
No, it's not strange, but and this is where everyone has different opinions. But I think that unconditional love doesn't necessarily mean saying yes to everything or everyone. Unconditional love, I think, is I've learned, I forgive you, but I must move on. For my road and your road no longer meet, or or are not the same. You know,
Yeah, I think I
what you
finally
wish
get
in
that
your
too.
life, it's not the same as what, go ahead.
It's for ourselves too.
Yeah. And it's not easy, but it's, you would feel peace. You will know when you are doing the right thing for yourself, because um, what you want and what you need and what is the right thing to do are all in agreement within you. So you don't feel that discomfort within you that you get, you know, and sometimes you do things and then you're like, feel this big discomfort within you, because you're not acting from, you know, your heart is telling you, I don't think this is the best choice for you, but you still go ahead and do it. And that's fine. We just know that there are consequences to that. And that's where, you know, we feel the pain, and we feel the discomfort, and we feel the, oh, I shouldn't have done that kind of thing. or I probably shouldn't have allowed that. Um, so I think it's important that we all learn to see and carve our own roads from the different you, the connected you that knows better. And when we allow that our higher self, um, to guide us through the situations, and when you allow your feelings of discomfort to tell you that perhaps this is not the best way, then things get a bit easier little by little, um, because you confronted the situation not in a negative way, but you either stood up for yourself or you spoke out, you know, whatever emotions you had, or you um, allow whomever it was to leave your life because it no longer served you. Yes, Michelle, you may speak.
So I think one thing that happened to me this week or the last couple of weeks is, you know, when you don't follow your inner guidance or you don't reach out, like maybe something just kind of knocks you. And then where I get in really big trouble is when I don't follow my inner guidance and that immediately turns into like self-hate, self-judgment. That for me is the super dangerous place. That's all I wanted to share. Because it was I had the last 3 weeks have been really tough.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even, it was like a kind of a spiritual melange of finding out past life stuff. And I was literally judging myself for that. Like things
And
like
honestly,
So
Michelle, that's
wait,
the danger of going there. But yeah, go ahead.
okay. So you did what you did. Why did you feel you needed to judge it?
I literally didn't put much thought into it. It literally descended upon me like a black cloud. Like I didn't think I should judge this. It literally just descended on me. Like I was completely overwhelmed by the information I got.
Okay.
And
So
and then it just like cascaded.
so in the overwhelm, um, did you at any moment say, what I'm doing right now doesn't make sense?
No.
Okay.
I mean, like,
So, yeah.
I understand the concept. Before I had some, like, I don't know how to describe it, but I had a soul rebirth done, and I learned a lot about myself that I already knew. So I could relate to a lot of the information. I was like, well, that explains a lot, but it's sometimes it's a lot more sneaky than, like, you know, oh, hey, I'm judging myself. It was more like my heart immediately started the feeling cycle of, oh my God, I am horrible. I am horrible. I am horrible.
In other words, you took whatever happened in the past and somehow you made some connections and you said, this you now, right? Says, see what I mean?
Yeah.
You are that because look at the past. Is that what was happening?
I think, too, another thing that I grapple with and have grappled with in the last long time is the marrying of knowing that I am both light and dark. And that's okay, because that's what we are. We come here to experience the whole range. And all I want, because life has been so much dark, is to be light. And so I have a really hard time accepting that I have to have dark also.
And Michelle, do you feel lovable?
So Michelle, so let's and I want to say that I'm not picking on Michelle. I'm trying for her to tell us what she went through in order for others to learn. Because many people have done this, that looked into past lives, and they feel a lot of judgment towards themselves because of what happened in the past. And I have to say that though I know a lot about my past lives, it has not happened to me. And, indirectly, I caused the death of the one I love, which everybody knows who that is, 3 times. So should I judge myself over that?
Well,
or should I?
Go ahead.
Or should I say, lesson learned, and move on?
Well, my feeling has always been I'm totally fine with not knowing anything about my past lives. And I kind of signed up for healing, and I got told what was blocking each of my chakras, and there was there was good things in some of them, and angelic lifetimes, but there was also like, okay, so you have this like addiction issues caused by seeing a lot of wartime. This is most of it is galactic. In fact, it's not even Earth. Seeing a lot of harm done, whether that was Lyran, Arcturian. I had like a silver Pleiadian lifetime, and I switched people's timelines around, so I really messed up a lot of things, which is kind of hard for my human brain to comprehend. So I just was kind of sitting with that, but I had signed up for a soul rebirth, and it happened on top of me trying to process and clear, because a lot of these things are blocking me from moving forward, is the idea that I got.
But you know what, Michelle, and this is and this is my personal opinion. You can take it or leave it. But I would suggest that your blockage is coming from this life. That whatever experiences you had in this life are showing you what it is that, when change, will help you transcend and transmute those things that you want to change.
So I don't really know. I'm not an expert. I just know that a lot of people have said and told me that it would be a great idea to be clearing these past lives because they are blocking me. So I want to do what I can to be a better person in the world. You know, I don't want to keep making circular mistakes. This is not any fun for me.
So did you think that what you did in those lives you were repeating in this life?
Yes.
Is that what you're afraid of?
No, I'm totally like, that is, it hits my personality like on point. And
Okay.
Right.
So,
It might hit your personality, but are you doing those things?
it's been, basically we're talking about a whole lifetime. And yes, some of them are just like literally ingrained in my personality.
But you see, but that's what I'm talking about. So it might be ingrained in your personality, which means that in this life you've had experiences that are trying to teach you something.
Yes, so
and that from
what I
this,
did is I wanted to learn and heal from that. What I think happened is way too much information all at once and being completely just bombarded beyond what my human emotional system could bear.
right?
Is it one of those be careful what you ask for things?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also you became enthralled in the emotions of it, and
Yeah.
and in
They
what
subsumed
was
me.
and what was happening. You became enthralled in that again, from about what I was speaking before, because instead of you observing it, okay, this is what happened. I see now how this affects me now, and I will take it from here and not dwell on whatever happened in the past, but what can I do from this point now? Because you have no control about what happened in the past, about what happened a second ago.
I have more experience doing that with this lifetime kind of thing. I have no experience doing it with past lifetime kind of thing. So actually, maybe something I could have sat with in my body and process that I had done, here, now, in my now. It felt different. It was an indictment of all that I am, I guess. And that's how I took it. And not in a healthy way.
Right.
So.
Because now you saw yourself as being broken.
Yeah.
And if you choose to see it that way, then how are you going to move forward?
Yeah. Sometimes human emotions or the ego or your subconscious or whatever, I'm not really sure which, are like more powerful than my ability to take my intellect and put it into good use. Is one way, I guess.
Yes, but it's not necessarily your intellect, the one that needs to make the discerning, but your heart.
No.
And your alignment with your higher self would have told you that what you were doing was not of the spirit, but it was of the mind. The mind was the one controlling your actions and your emotions. It was not your soul, your spirit, your higher self. It was a
That's
choice
true.
at that moment that you made, and you chose to identify with something that had occurred in the past and brought it onto this now, and you saw yourself as being broken, not as being this beautiful being that it's learning as it moves through all the different experiences, and this being that has chosen very difficult paths, but that has overcome them, and it's standing right here, right now, with the wisdom of the ages, a being that knows much, and though it holds many scars, it does shine. Otherwise, how could you be standing here? So acknowledge your inner strength, what it took you to go through those experiences, and how much you overcame in order to transcend what happened then. And look at where you're standing now. If you had not brought more light into yourself, would you be standing here judging the past? So see that you made a move into something more of what you wanted, into more light, and not that you did those things and that you are those things, for you are not. You are light, you are consciousness, you are a world experiencing itself, wanting to know more about itself. And it can only do those things by weaving itself through all possible experiences. All experiences come and go. Everything changes. So know that you are more than your experiences. You are light, you are consciousness, you are love. Choose now, from this point, what you wish to be. Don't bring the past onto the now. Bring this new you every morning that you wake up. A new you can be born that brings into herself more of herself, more of her light, more of her divinity. You are more than the sum of your experiences. So choose from there what it is that you wish to view, what it is that you wish to be. You can choose to keep being a human being that works solely off of emotions that come from a mental body and identifies with the experiences as being it. Or you can choose to see yourself as consciousness having experiences and navigating through your higher self, through the connected you that knows that this is only an experience and this is only a body, that you will change and you will move on to become something else. I'm not sure who that was.
Well, we know you're channeling when you get that voice. And it was very, very needed. And I think we all could feel that for Michelle. Michelle, I love you. Simple as that. And you aren't your experiences. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience.
I literally do know that, but I don't always know that. Sometimes I'm just very human.
I totally understand. I know that feeling well. But know that you can rise above that, that you are more. Just as, well, Sabrina channeling said. I'm guessing that her channel was an angel because it sounded very angelic. And yes, you will lighten up.
Yeah.
After today, I think, and I can feel you lightening up.
Yeah, and there are some of you that are bringing that emotional self from the past, from this life. And keep reliving those experiences. As you do that, it brings down your vibration. So you say, but I did go through it. I did have to experience that. Yes, you did. But it is time to transform the emotions that came along with that. To let go of the pain and to realize that you no longer need to hold on to the physical abuse, the mental abuse, or whatever it is that happened and you feel marked or changed by it. For when you choose to see things as they truly are, you will see that your emotions are simply a tool. Your body is a tool. Your mind is a tool. For does this reality really exist without any of your senses? Do you exist without your senses? Of course you do, for you are consciousness. That is the one that is learning, that it's growing, that is expanding, and it becomes more and more. For you are not the experience. When you choose to transcend all of these things, all of the experiences, the emotions, and when you move through life in a way in which love shines through, compassion, understanding, caring, when you all begin to show each other compassion, that's when inner peace, inner love, and world peace will come. For you not be willing to harm another human being. For you have become aware that you are them and they are you. For you are all part of the whole, part of the one, part of the universe. And this web functions as one. Nothing is separate. But consciousness must be the one, guiding through the heart. And it's not the love that many humans identify. It's very emotional love. It's more of a kindness and a self-compassion. Oftentimes, you are more compassionate to others than you are to yourself. You are more compassionate to an animal than you are to yourself. Why is that? Because of the self-identification with the ego, and with the experiences. You think you are that experience, or the lack of experience. I should have been this or that. I should have done. I should. There are no shoulds. When you learn to let go and let life be, though it is a difficult concept for many, feel out of control and feel that they must control everything that surrounds them in order to feel that they're okay. Is the surrendering to life that allows you to live and be in the moment. Is the one that gives you the gift of the self. For you have the awareness that you will be taken care of in whatever way that may be. For at the end, you will shed the body and you will have the wisdom that comes from your experiences. The emotional self, the mental self, need not rule who you are. For you are not those things. They are only tools for you. And as you all go through the many experiences and the many changes that are occurring at this time on your planet, inner strength will be required of all of you. And inner strength comes from the inner connection, from that total alignment within you, and for that willingness to get up regardless, to lead others, to help others, to say, I know things will work out. Even if they don't have the understanding that you have, you can give them comfort in different ways and show them a path of less suffering. But how are you to be a leader when you can't let go? Yes, much is expected of all of you. Much is wanted from all of you. And many of you are going through difficult experiences, even with fourth dimensional beings. But these are things that you wanted to do, that you agreed to do, because you wanted that inner strength so that when it was called for, you would have it. Become a leader of your life first. And that does not mean that you will always be connected. Allow room for that. And then let it go. Perfection, as you see it, comes from experience. There is no perfection, though. There are only experiences. Your wisdom comes from your experiences. How are you to know how to help others if you don't know what it's like? If you've never been put in that position? That's where your wisdom comes from. How are you to know that when you hurt others, you hurt yourself? If you don't stand on both sides. Yes, third dimension can be very challenging and very overwhelming for many. But when you start to wake up and become more self-aware, these things that I speak of become obvious. For no matter what you were in your past, this life, other lives, you can always become something else. This life or other lives. You can choose from this point that you will be something else. It's your choice. Don't let experiences define you. Let them teach you. Go through the experience, face them. Don't let others dictate who you are. You dictate who you are, what you want, how to live. And though, yes, you live in a society that requires many things out of you, even within that, you can become more. For many have done it. But choose wisely. Check with yourself, not with others. Check with yourself before you make a decision. See, many times you know what is the right decision for you. And it might not be easy. In fact, it might be the more difficult road to take. But you know that at the end of that road, you will shine. Yet, many choose not to do it yet, not to walk it, out of fear. And they let go of themselves. And then they begin to resent others when it's all they're doing. For you have made a choice not to move. You cannot blame others. Accepting responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means I accept that I did this. Now how do I move? What do I do next for myself so I can stand on my own power? So I can become more. And the more you do of that, the more self-aware you are, the more your navigation system will take over. Your true navigation system. Your spirit, your soul, your higher self. And the path will become much easier. For you will not question yourself as you did before. You will know right away what is the best choice for you. What are you to do to move through your path? And yes, you will still have emotions, but you need not become them. You feel them, you observe them, and you move through them. For they are still a tool. They are guiding you and showing you your way. But choose to love yourselves. And though it is not an easy path at times, for you see others doing something else, and you want to do the same at times, and you want to fit in, and you want to be part of the group, you know that you are no longer that, and that you cannot go back. So now you must push through. And when you know that you are connected, you will not be afraid to speak up your truth. That does not mean that there are no compromising. But it means that you're always acting from your connection to you. And it allows you to take the high road. And be kind to others. And put yourself in other people's shoes. And see them. And you have the awareness of the turmoil that goes on in their heads. For you've been there. And you will be able to be there for others in a different way, not in a disconnected way. That's when transformation happens. Then life becomes more of a dance than a struggle. For you no longer fight what comes your way. You allow, you discern, you move through it. But there are still lessons being learned by many of you. And there will always be something to learn. Shifting to another dimension does not imply that the learning is done. It simply means that you are more connected to yourself. And you are able to see more. And that is why oftentimes past lives are hidden from you. For the burning of the knowledge becomes too much when the mind doesn't have awareness of more. So learn also to discern when to give information to others. And you will know, not just within the group, but with people out there. And information can be given in many, many different ways. Without confusing the mind of the other person. And you still speaking your truth. It is not about hiding who you are. It's about expressing your truth in a way that can be discerned by the mind of the other person. Take care of each other. Be there for each other. Be compassionate. Even when others are not being compassionate. Be loving. Even when others choose not to be loving. For you know that nothing is black and white. Understand that you might make a different choice, but for them, they feel that's the right choice. Learn to respect that. Because they are choosing from their perspective, from their experience. That is why when you connect to each other's heart, you are more able to come to agreements. Because you are truly seeing each other for what you are. Consciousness having a physical experience. You are all beings of light. It doesn't matter what you have done or been. You are all beings of light. God sees you as what you are. Never judges you. Never resents you. Choose to see yourselves that way. Honor each other's strengths and abilities. Do not envy. Honor it. Foment Create spaces where there allows growth for everyone. And love each other. See that there is more, that there is a universe that surrounds all of you and that sustains you and guides you and loves you. And as you move through your lives, love yourself first. And then give to others. And when you give in that way, you never are taken away from yourself, because your cup is always full and always being filled by you. But when the gift comes from a cup that is halfway full, you begin to feel drained. Fill your cups first. Be gentle on yourselves. Know that whatever emotion that happened yesterday doesn't have to define you today. And whatever behavior you did yesterday doesn't have to be the one from today. Today, you can choose self-awareness, self-love, self-discipline, joy, and understanding. And the more you do of this, the more you will transcend, transmute, and change. And as you change the world around you. Peace comes a person at a time. It cannot be fought for, or cannot be argued for. I hope these words will help many of you, or one of you. And I know that you're all capable of much, much more than you are able to see. And that someday you will look back and see how far you truly have come. Namaste to all.
Namaste. Thank you, Sabrina. I think everyone listening and everyone going to listen will benefit from those words. Not sure who she was channeling, but very profound. Does anyone else have anything they would like to add today? Christopher, you had some wonderful things to say on the side. Would you care to add?
Thank you, Valerie. Yeah, quite interesting what's happening here today. Very deep conversations. All centered around the emotional state. And as I'm listening again, I'm taking it back to the present moment, which can be difficult at times, but I think we're all aware in the breath, in the moment, we're safe. We're safe from the analyzer. How do we stop the analyzer? How do we stop thinking? Quite difficult. Stopping the analyzer, deflating the ego. Very, very difficult. We take it down to the heart. That's the journey we're all on, back to the heart. Unconditional love. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. And how correct that was to take it into your heart, just as Sabrina was just channeling. It is the hardest thing we do to remember that really our thought patterns are coming from our heart, not from our head. When our head takes over, I like to say that's when mistakes begin. Because when we're living our heart-based life, it seems to have a profound effect on all of us. When you can see that you're touching another person's life by helping them in whatever way that may be, whether it be just being there for someone, cooking them dinner, giving them Reiki, being a friend, or going to work for somebody that can't manage to get there themselves that day. I mean, everybody can give back and everybody seems to find the way to do so. And unfortunately, when things happen that are really, really something for us to handle, that's when we seem to see the best of people. During the hurricanes, during the storms that touch lives in ways that we can't imagine sometimes until we're in them. And it seems like we all take our chance around the earth. We all take our turn to have some devastating thing happen. And I think that's to wake us up too, to wake us up to remember that we have to take care of each other. You know, that we are all connected. We are all humanity, whether we're in Haiti, Japan, or the USA.
Yes, and I was high for a little bit there. um, and I would say, Chris, the your question. I think sometimes to break the pattern, we have to do something that we enjoy. That helps break the pattern. And it could be painting, dancing, speaking to others about something else.
Cleaning, Christopher. That's kind of a private thing, but we know Christopher likes to clean for his wife, and it's a wonderful thing that he does.
Yes, and I agree with that, Chris. Um, most people do not know how to listen. They start thinking of a response before they even done listening to what the person is saying. So that's actually a very good point. Learning to hear others and just truly listen. And sometimes that's all people need, just to be heard, because they are sorting their thoughts with you. And they're all tangled in their heads, and when they speak to you, they become much more clear on what it is that they want to do and where to go from there. So sometimes makes it. You know, it doesn't take like some big words to help somebody. Sometimes you can just sit quietly and just listen, truly listen, and not interrupt the person with whatever it is that you have to say. Just allow them to speak and allow them to sort their thoughts or their emotions by speaking with you. And it becomes much more clear for them, and you go, why was it that I was drowning on this? um, why was it that I felt this way? And that's it. But many times you don't want to hear a person, you say, oh, she's so negative, or she's so this, or she's so that. And you start judging whatever the words are that are coming, whatever the action was, instead of saying, after listening, okay, how would I view it from her shoes or his shoes? Because when you learn to do that, you learn to see that from their perspective, what they're doing makes sense. But then you can then say, okay, this is what I think. And they can take it or leave it. But at that point, you have shared a different point of view. And everybody works differently. Some people just need to be heard. Some people need to be asked. Some people need to be actually held by the hand. And depending on the situation, sometimes it might take several talks. Some people can't stop analyzing. And I get it. I tend to do a lot of that. But I'm having, Chris, more episodes where I do less and less of it. Because I come to the realization that I really don't have any answers. And what's happening is that the mind wants answers because it wants control. It wants to be able to control the situation. It wants to say, this is how you do it, or this is how it is. And it wants there to be only one answer. You know, this is what rules the world. And it doesn't work that way. Yeah, the ego. So because because the minute you let go, what happens? The ego needs to relinquish control. When you let go, the ego is no longer in control. And what do you call that? I think is it when you go skydiving? I think it is. Not skydiving. I think more like a parachute. you have one, but you can't really much control where the wind takes you. So, and it's not about getting rid of the ego, because that also becomes a form of control by the ego. Because now you start fighting yourself, but you learn to allow it to be while shifting out of it. You allow it to be and you shift out of it. You allow it to be and you shift out of it. Until you're no longer identifying and living your life through the ego, but through your spirit, through your soul. You allow yourself to become more separate from the physical body. So, I don't know if anyone has any questions or any comments. Okay. So, I would say this. In a world where we know that, many things are happening, that the more we try to control, the more we get scared. Because we think, if I can control the situation, if I can control what is happening, I will be happy. But even when you do that, you're not happy, because you find something else to control. You find something else to control. Because that other thing can now make you unhappy. But you're not enjoying whatever it was that you were able to do your way. Because you're too busy trying to control everything around you, and sometimes everyone around you. Because you want it to be a certain way and show up for you a certain way. So, on those words, I'm going to close today. Valerie, do you have anything else to say?
Yes, I would like to draw everybody's attention and ask that we do a blessing today for Jim. Our dear Jim has lost his dear father, and our hearts go out to him, and I'm sure he'll be back as soon as that he can. I'm not sure who's on next week, but hopefully Jim will be able to return. I can't promise that, however. But if we could ask for a blessing now, I think that would be a nice thing.
Okay, I would also like to also for us to set our intentions um, um, for another lovely person, to send him some energy of love and protection to Joe. Um, I would ask that, we do that for him, and for Carolina, for much inner strength, for Valerie, for inner strength, for Michelle, for inner strength, for Christopher, for clearing of the mind, and for Jim, for inner strength and clearing of the mind. Did I miss anyone? So, on that note, I will do a blessing now. Thank you, God, for all the people in this group, for Jim, for being so giving towards all of us, for teaching us, for giving us something that has allowed many of us to move forward. And at this time, he needs holding. He needs loving hands that will cradle him and give him the strength to allow him to let go of his father in a physical sense, to hold on to his memories, and to have the strength to go on and see that there is more for him. That though his father will never be replaced by anyone, that there are many people around him that love him and cared about him. And please take care of his father and help him on his new journey so that he can become more of himself. I ask now for Michelle to allow her to come into her inner strength, self-love, self-forgiveness. Give her the wisdom of discernment so that she may know when to let go and when to hold on. Give her self-discipline so that she can move forward in her life in a way that she sees fit. And give her love so that when she's not able to give it to herself, she can feel yours. Now I pray for Joe. Please give him protection. Illuminate his path so that he can see his light and all the wisdom that he holds within him, and allow him to see what others see in him. Show him your love. He has gone through much in this life, and he's very strong. But now he needs love and compassion and understanding and holding and guidance so that he can grow into what he's meant to be and see who he truly is. A beacon of light in this world. Now, I will pray for Valerie. Please, Lord, give her a clear path through her surgery, that she recovers from it fast, with not much pain. Help her see whatever changes she needs to make that possible, be it mental, physical. Give her the wisdom of the knowledge of her physical self. Give her clarity of mind so that she can make the right decisions when the time comes. And allow her to move forward in her journey so that she can see her own growth, so that she can see how far she has come on this very difficult journey that she's had. Give her that inner strength that says, I made it. I'm here. And I am it. Now I ask for Christopher. Please guide him so that he can see that the mental exercise is a mental exercise. That the path to enlightenment comes from letting go and letting be. Give him clarity of mind, the ability for him to use it as needed and let go as he wants. Give him that wisdom that comes from not knowing, not truly being sure, yet being happy and being at peace with yourself. For he knows what he needs to do. He simply needs guidance and the inner strength to know when to do it. Carolina, as she comes into her inner strength and she's able to face up the situations that she's going through without fear, without hesitation. And for her to know that you're standing by her and that she's doing for herself what she needs to do. The standing in her power is not wrong. And that does not mean not loving. And for her to allow herself to transform her life in whatever way will bring her happiness. And for her to be at peace with herself. I ask all these things, and I would ask that you help this group flourish again, and for everyone to be there for each other and be kinder to each other. And I know that you have a plan for all of us, and that someday we will all understand what that was. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Sabrina. It was absolutely beautiful and much needed for me, and I'm sure others as well. And I would just like to say, God, please bless all those watching, all those in need. Make sure that they get exactly what it is that they need today for healing and for moving forward. And I thank every one of you for joining us today.
Yes.
Those who came in late, hang out with us later. For those who are going to watch this later, I hope that you get everything out of it that I did. Thank you, Sabrina. Very kind for donating your time for us today.
Thank you all for coming, for watching, and sometime soon I will resume with my webinars. So I would let everyone know, but please do go to my my Google Plus page and check it out. You know, on YouTube also, I have several videos. So I hope it helps even one person be happy. And please take care of yourselves and love yourselves. Much love, everyone.
Yes, much love. Namaste.
Namaste. Goodbye.